in business?
So, our today's topic of discussion is ethics in business. So, I would just like to start by saying the basic meaning of ethics is basically refers to our principles and values on how we guide in principles and values in our professional world. I think in today's time, in the competitive environment we are today, ethics is not just about, I think, following law, but I think it is about building long-term trust with our shareholders, investors, even our own employees. I think a company, a brand, a person with strong ethics will always create a goodwill, which will uh, leave a long-term good reputation in the long term. Also, I think because in today's time we are focusing so much with our CSR expectations in corporate, so that is another very important part of ethics today.
Please carry on the discussion kindly.
I think ethics in business primarily refer to conducting commercial activities, everything commercially with fairness, honesty, and most importantly, accountability, not just to maximize profit and maximize numbers, but also focus on gaining trust of the stakeholders. In today's world, when like corporate scams are very normal and you face instant backlash for it, ethics no longer become like optional, but they become a part of your routine activity and the way you on daily conduct operations. So ethics, I believe, in business do matter because of primarily their trust and reputation, while focusing on sustainability and long term growth. And ethics are also important to maintain the culture inside the office and interpersonal employee relation. So ethics in business are truly important, and I would like to conclude by saying that ethics in business is not about like choosing profit or values. It's about combining both of them together and getting the best of both worlds.
I think ethics in business means choosing what is right or what is easy. It means being honest even when no one is watching, and being fair even when profits are at stake, and being responsible not only to
Anya,
shareholders but to
Anya, be
society.
louder, please.
Oh yeah. Should I repeat what I just said?
Yes, Ayush.
I think that ethics in any field, not just business, is very much important. When it comes to business, we see that a business is usually run with facing the customer, and that the main goal, as we see in a lot of case studies, is making sure that the customer is satisfied, and that the customer is retained for a long-term business, so that there is more profitability from one customer. Not only that, it also pertains to free marketing from the customer by word of mouth. And I believe that if the business people are ethical and they sell them the right products without doing any sort of tampering or any sort of mis any sort of tampering only, then this goal is very much achieved. And we see that there are also multiple legal troubles which people get into when they just do stuff for the profits and not take care of the ethical part of it. And I believe that in order to attain these goals, business should be ethical.
Also, I think a ethically strong company will attract good skill, which will lead to have a good crowd in the company, which in order will increase productivity and employee morale.
And an ethical business does not cheat its customers, exploit its employees, or harm the environment for short-term gains. Instead, it builds trust, credibility, and respect. Trust turns customers into loyal supporters, and employees into dedicated partners, and companies into respected institutions.
I would also like to say that while there are some
Try
people and some
to,
critics,
excuse me, try to give examples of companies by naming them, which you think are ethical or unethical, and what is the effect.
yes, sir. So like I would like to say that while critics argue that like strong ethics or strict ethics can restrict your competitiveness in some way, but I'd like to say that in the long run, it is like while there are some temporary unethical shortcuts which can help you with short term gain, but in the long run it is your trust, your brand image, and what you stand as a brand matters. For example, Tata, it is like the premium brand in India right now. So that makes a difference. Like how you ethically run a business makes a difference.
I think a good practical example would be I would like to take the example of Tata from Samiksha and add that we all know during the COVID time, they prioritized employees and paid their salaries throughout the period. Doesn't matter how difficult the situations are. I think that shows how a corporate can maintain its ethical standards.
One of the things that you can talk about when you talk of business and ethics is that apparently it seems like an oxymoron that businesses do not have ethics. But like some of you said, ethical businesses are last longer. People have more trust on them. The way it is reflected in today's world is through the valuation that the stock market gives to the shares. For example, there are two companies, A and B, and both have the same profit and both have the same turnover and everything else being same. If A is perceived as being more ethical than B in its dealings with customers, workers, the environment, and everything else, then the more ethical the company is, the people tend to believe their financials more than the other company, and the valuation of that company in the stock market will be much higher than the other company, even if the financials are similar, because people assume that the perceived unethical company may have doctored its accounts. So that is very important in today's context in the terms of wealth creation. This is something you could add to this discussion. Apart from that, you can give examples of companies like there is a lot of criticism of cola companies which have set up plants where there is a dearth of water, and for every liter of carbonated drink that is produced, some 20 liters of water is used, and so a lot of people criticize these companies that they are being unethical. Then there have been a lot of instances in India in the past where companies have not given their due attention to the environment, and they have not used anti-pollution measures, and they have polluted the immediate environment, and village after village and workers have been affected, their health has been affected, and many people have died also because of that. So you could give examples from there. Then there are companies, especially tea companies, are there in Assam and other areas. You know, they extend because there is nobody to watch there, sort of. So they extend their plantations into the reserved forests without having any plan, any permission, and they exploit the environment there. So you can give so many examples. Whenever you have a discussion, you should not talk about general theory. Okay, you should show the observers that you have knowledge about what is happening around you by quoting examples from different sources, which can only come if you have a lot of reading. If you don't read newspapers, you don't read articles, you don't read corporate magazines, then you will not be able to give examples. Okay, because remember, you will be competing during the MBA interviews. You will be competing with people with work experience of 2 3 years or more, and they would have a lot of practical experience, as well as they might be reading more of the newspapers, and they might know a lot about what is happening in the corporate world. So you need to read newspapers regularly, you need to read the business columns. If you don't understand those things, you can click a picture of that article and post it in the group, and we can discuss those in class. Okay, so please try to do that. Okay, any questions?
Okay, sir. No, sir.